Hello, and welcome to the Connect podcast, a podcast by the Holdridge Area Chamber of Commerce. You have a few clients here in Holdridge, but we talked a little bit of the ribbon cutting of some goals you have. Do you want to share a couple of those goals?
Well, my goals is to, I'd really like to expand our educational market.
Yeah.
When I first got this company started, everyone was saying you should just stick to two verticals. Like you should just do, basic security systems or managed IT or cameras or anything like that. Honestly, I didn't like that advice.
Yeah.
And yes, they came from some reputable former owners or techs or whatever. And I just didn't like that advice. And I'm like, I really like having flexibility. Now we're starting to narrow that scope down a bit because I like some brands and I like some certain areas. And so education is really one that, education and healthcare.
Yeah.
For one, they always need our services, which is kind of sad a little bit, right? Because I've been to schools, kids swallowed a razor blade. I've seen tables thrown by, fifth graders, all this different stuff. I have a bunch of teachers in the family or former teachers, even healthcare in the family. And definitely one camera can save you a lot of headache.
Yeah.
Or keeping people out of a certain room can save you headaches.
Mm-hmm.
We had a kid somehow get into the IT closet at a school and hid behind the network rack and somehow unplugged the whole network rack. And then obviously it was battery backup, but it only lasted a few hours.
Yeah.
And then the school calls me frantic. No cameras, no computers, no phones, no network, no nothing. And that was before we had a contract, so we didn't have anyone out there. Mm-hmm. And so, we had to go in and make sure that never happened again, right? Yeah. You just got to put a lock on the door or, key card or something. I want to make sure that, they're not getting shivved, they're not getting shot. I mean, there was a shooting by, they grabbed the police gun and shot him in the leg at the hospital in Kearney. There's been a bunch of facilities like that. And so how can we minimize crime in these areas? How can we make it more secure? From the small rural school to these big dollar schools, right? Vape protection is huge now, right? It's it's a crime. It is a crime. And most people don't understand that it is a crime on public or school property or, stuff like that. So
absolutely.
Because we're not there to spy. When we come into these schools, the teachers look at us, but then when they start understanding that this camera is really to protect them, or this speaker to detect noise. So if a kid's raising their voice, the principal's called before the teacher has time, because not everyone, in a time of crisis, not everyone's going to be fully alert to the crisis until it actually goes down.
Exactly.
There's whole tests and studies and everything else done on this fact. How can we protect them before they know they need protection?
Yeah.
So
that's amazing. That sound detection is really cool too. I was at a co-working space once and they had sound detection. And so that if the managers or owners weren't around and people were getting rowdy in their shared space, the other businesses didn't have to be the ones to be like, hey, can you keep it down? And they just got an alert, So even feeling secure that way is super valuable. As the young professional of the year, what advice would you give to young entrepreneurs that are going to start a business this year or next year? What advice would you offer them from your expertise?
Hope you're single.
Yeah.
Hope you don't have ties. And I hope you're ready to seriously become a workaholic.
Yeah.
And what I would say is know if you actually have the ability to do it. In theory, anyone can start a business. Mm-hmm. But you've got to really love what you do. You've got to be able to not just speak it, but you've also got to show it.
Yeah.
Something I found out before I was a business owner was just, dress the part that you want.
Yeah.
I worked construction, project management. I was, over different projects for electric company, even here in town as a kid, like 19 years old.
Yeah.
Everyone thought I was the owner's son because I would wear, a button up, just like a 3/4 Henley, or I would do a polo or something because I like polos.
Yeah.
I make all my guys wear polos.
Yeah.
You notice?
Yeah, they're nice.
And they would never wear polos. They're
really?
T-shirt guys, right? But I wrote it in their contracts.
Yeah.
And everyone has to be in uniform. And I'm a big fan of uniform. Goes back to the military.
Yeah.
You just need to be able to not just think you can do it, but to have some traces that you actually can.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you're trying to get into, whether it's gaming, right? Like if you want to be a streamer or a gamer, you've got to at least try to have the personality for it.
Yeah.
Because some people, you don't have to be good at games. You just have to have the smile on your face, and happy and, whatever, or have a gimmick. And it's the same with business.
Yeah.
If you're doing computers or insurance or whatever, you've got to be able to put your whole heart and soul into it.
That's right.
And that would be my advice. And also don't throw a ton of money in it upfront.
That's actually interesting advice. I love that because when I started making my entrepreneur journey, before I really knew what I was doing, I was told you have to spend money to make money. And that's true. I mean, it's true.
Yeah, oh yeah, we do it all the time.
But as a young entrepreneur, I took that as whatever I can spend money on is just going to be the cost of doing business.
Yep.
And so I wasted a lot of money on things I wasn't ready for.
Yeah. And I can counter that with two different ways. We picked up our first ever contract off of me spending my own money. We had the opportunity to sell cameras to a large company, and they needed to be across the country. They needed to be easily accessible, which means cloud, right? You can't have servers everywhere. And obviously we're brand new. They're like, all right, how do we know if this actually works? And I had no way to tell them. Like, I could show them photos online. I could show them video clips on YouTube. I could do all that. I didn't have any of the cameras. I didn't have any of the equipment. So I spent roughly around $1,000 of my own money. And I was like, all right, you're already hiring us to do a couple odds and ends. And he was like, okay, well, we have a job coming up in Fort Worth. You go out to Fort Worth. You'll get paid, so much an hour to help our guys work on some things.
Yep.
And you can put the camera in up there. We'll try it for a little while and see if we like it. We picked up our first large contract off of that.
That's amazing.
And that's, I used that money to pay for polos. I used that money to pay for merchandise. I used that money, on clothing just to look good. I think I bought a new bottle of cologne, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because you got to look the part too, and you got to speak it, and you got to put a little money into it. Like I saved up for 2 months for my first laptop, right? Yeah. That was just something that I knew I had. But I also had plan B with that laptop. If I was gonna, the company went down or I wasn't gonna make any money, I was gonna go work IT anyway.
Yeah.
So I needed a laptop. So no matter what you do, just, make sure you're only putting money into the key parts you need.
Yeah.
You don't need, because it's real tempting for me to go out and spend $100,000 on a truck. I love pickups. I love speed. It's what I drive every day for work. Like, super easy to do that. Drop 10 grand on a wrap, 5 grand, whatever it may be. Like it's real easy just to want to do it. You have that high and then you have that low.
Yeah.
And you need to be consistent for a while before you can say, all right, boys, let's buy a fleet of trucks or let's get an office. Sometimes you can work out of a nest space for a while, right?
Yeah.
It's not, I won't say it's perfect for our need of a company, but they have been very gracious to adapt to us. And so I've been trying to adapt to them.
Yeah.
Eventually we're going to have to move out.
Yeah. It's just growth, right?
Yep. That's the same with everything.
Yep. That's exactly right.
So bet on yourself. Just don't put your whole hands on the table, right? Yeah. Don't bet the whole pot.
Yeah. No, that's good. Well, speaking of, what's next for Raven Tech? Do you guys have anything you can share that you're like, this is what we're working on next? I know you mentioned education and healthcare. That's a good goal, but.
I really want to get into more schools.
Yeah.
We have some young blood staff coming on here in the next couple months, and I'm excited because, they're either out of high school or starting to go to college or whatever it may be. And when I was their age, I had no idea what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I was just itching for someone to come up to me and offer me a job of my dreams. And I'm not saying I'm a perfect job of the dreams or a perfect boss by any means, but if you're willing to put in the effort and show that you have the effort, I don't need you to come to me with 5 years qualifications to be on the part of my company. I myself, I do not have a business degree. I do not have a marketing degree.
Yeah.
I don't have a sales degree of any kind. I've actually never sat through any sales classes in my life, not even online.
Yeah.
I haven't even read any books. Like, I don't think you need all that training to be a good salesman. Yes, it helps.
Yeah.
Yes, do I plan on sitting through some of these courses? Yes.
Yep.
Yes, do I think college is very important? I do. I really do. Especially if you plan on moving up the ranks faster, because it just adds that extra layer of knowledge in theory, right? Not everyone. I've worked with some pretty bad IT guys. Trust me. I would recommend find something you enjoy to do, whether it work for us or somebody else. And as we grow, your knowledge grows. Don't do the leapfrog game.
Yeah.
Because whether you like it or not, you need to have a LinkedIn profile, and your LinkedIn profile shows 5 companies in 5 years. That's not a good start in hiring. I would second guess that unless it were like, I had to move because of my spouse. Yeah. Military or something. Then there's a grace period with that. But like for us personally, I hope to be in more healthcare and educational facilities. Like I said, those are the 2 that need our product the most. Yeah. We can help them the most. And then the small businesses as well. We can easily maintain small businesses and help you in your time of need. Yeah. When you need it, not put a contract down your throat and say, hey, you have to pay us $300 a month or something. But yeah, the future of Raven Tech is honestly up in the air. Yeah. Like, I've been blessed with a great staff. I've been blessed with, companies coming to us asking about who we are, because these bigger companies have taken notice. And they're like, man, who's these upstart companies that are in like multiple schools and multiple healthcare facilities, and they have 3 different, main verticals, from the smart home to the security to, the tech. And we just bought an innovation that was a program and that has their brand on it.
Yeah.
And they're a year and 10 months in, and they're in freaking Nebraska. They're not, we're not out of California.
Yeah.
We're not a Tesla startup, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go out there and raise $2 million to start the company.
Right.
I saved up 2 months for a laptop.
Yeah.
That I still have.
Yeah.
And so I honestly, the sky's the limit. Whether we continue on as us by ourselves or part of a big company, we're here to help.
Yeah.
And it's the same with whether we expand and we only get small businesses or we get big in healthcare. We're still there for any type of business that wants to use us, that's willing to work with us. And hopefully, my long-term goals, to have up to 10 techs,
Mm-hmm.
dozen different school districts, a few different hospitals, and be the first call in the area, and be like some of those old school companies where, you see our brand, you know who to call when you need us.
It's exactly right.
It's simple facts.
Yeah.
Right? And hopefully you think highly of me and my guys, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I think that's really important too. And speaking of, if someone wanted to begin their journey working with Raven Tech, what's the best way for them to start? Do they just reach out to you right away? Should they, kind of audit what they've got going on and then reach out? What's the best way for someone to start?
So I'm technically a consultant too. We prefer you to come. You can either call us over the phone, right? You can go to our website, raven-tech.com, right? Don't forget the dash, the hyphen. But there's a consultation page on there. And it's a forum, right? You just fill it out with some basic information. Give me your email, your kind of ideas. Some people say, oh, I need 2 cameras, or I'm interested in a suite of security going across, multiple states, whatever.
Yeah.
It could be as small or as big. And then we'll call you back, email you back. I usually call, but we can do both. Mm-hmm. And then we set up a time to come out to your site and say, hey, okay, this is what we see. This is what we found. We like to walk with the owner or you and ask you questions. We'll ask questions about way more than we probably should.
Sure.
Be like, have you noticed there's an issue with this door or whatever? Have you noticed this?
Yeah.
And have you had problems in this area? And they'd be like, oh, yeah. So I could go on stories, but we got hired for a company up in Omaha that their system couldn't work. And we were assured that it just needed new security panels. So we were hired by a third party to go up there and do it. We went up there and did it. I looked at it and I'm like, something's not right here. And we have this thing called a butt set, which is an old phone. Plugs into an old POTS line.
Yeah.
And it has an old dial tone on it and stuff.
Jeez.
Plugged it in, no dial tone. Instantly went up to him like, you just wasted our time, unfortunately, because we wasted your money, right? Mm-hmm. You're going to get billed for 8 hours for us to come up here and tell you it's a phone company issue.
Yeah.
And so this could all be avoided by us coming up and just doing a simple diagnosis. And it's free.
Yeah.
Like if you're in Nebraska or northern Kansas, we have no problem coming up here. And we'll come up to you if you're on the farm, whether it's cold out, hot out, within reason, obviously.
Yeah.
And we can take even the whole day, walk around your facility and find the needs. We want you as a customer. We want your business, obviously. And we want to make it worth your while. And we come back with like a camera system. If you can give us blueprints of the exterior, interior, any of the buildings, we can actually design it in-house.
Wow.
With all the different specifications, exactly where the cameras need to go or the security system, what it's going to look like, the approximate range of it. We're not just going to put down a number, $5,000 and 5 cameras.
Yeah.
We don't have a cookie cutter formula. Mm-hmm. On average, it takes us 2 weeks a quote. That's a lot of man hours.
Sure.
That's a lot of man hours.
Yeah.
And we've simplified this process down to where we have it automated a lot, but it still takes us a lot of days because we have a whole review process we go through.
Yeah.
And then we don't expect you to come back with the first quote and say, I signed, here you go. We expect you to come back with questions. If you have to have us come out and talk, I'd like to talk, obviously, as everyone knows here. I've been in front of boards, school boards, nonprofit boards, firehouse boards. I've been asked to, today, I got asked to speak in Omaha this morning.
That's amazing.
And I'm like, I don't know if I want to do Omaha, Kearney, Holdridge, Loomis, Kearney to finish my route today. I don't know if I have that in me. So you can call us 402-302-1302. You can go to raven-tech.com. I promise you we will answer one way or another. I make sure of that. I try to go through all my emails every day. Easier said than done, as I'm sure you know.
I do.
But that's how we stay in business.
That's
you know,
right.
and as a small business, we do need your business to stay open. So we're not, you know, a military grade
Yeah.
contractor out there. I wish, maybe someday.
Yeah, maybe someday. That's
Yeah.
great. No, that's amazing. Well, the last question, and I like to ask this just in general. We asked about young entrepreneurs earlier, but what's one piece of advice you'd like to leave the Connect listeners with today?
I'll say this, not because I'm in a chamber deal here. So this is not like an advertisement to come see Adam here. But I found a lot of success by joining Young Professional Network. And whether you do it for the free drinks
Yeah.
or just to go see cool things that you normally would never get to see, like tours and stuff like that, there is a lot into networking. And some people think, okay, well, I've been successful or whatever. I don't need to network. Everyone knows it's not worth my time, worth my money. Like I told you earlier, some people become chamber members just to put it on their front door.
That's right.
There is a lot to networking. Whether you show up to a breakfast and talk to one person. I, as a salesman, know the value of getting one sale. Like you spend $1,000 on an event and you get one sale out of it, it might cover that sale.
Yeah.
Over long term, it probably will. Like there's a lot of value in networking. Could be just handing business cards, you know, could be just text messages. I picked up a ton of friends off of just this. Like I have a bigger friend group than I did before I started this, just from the amount of people I meet, text, go to horse races, go to football games, UNK, you know, UNL. And doesn't all have to be professional. Could be drinks with the boys on a Friday night.
That's exactly right.
Right? Could be one or two guys. And you don't have to talk about work unless you want to.
Yeah.
You know, you talk about work all day, every day sometimes. So that'd be my piece of advice is, you know, get out there, be a part of some of these groups. And mind you, anyone will take your money.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of these like realtor groups that come out and look for, you know, spend $600 a year. There's leads groups at a lot of chambers, little things like that. A little exposure goes a long way. Just know the extent of your marketing book and, you know, you got to evaluate it, obviously.
Yeah.
But that'd be something I'd recommend is get out, talk to people. A lot of places frown on door-to-door anymore.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's getting harder and harder. But if you have that type of personality, make sure you have the proper qualifications and you talk to the proper authorities.
Yep.
You can do that as well. But a little marketing in that way could honestly be free.
Yeah.
Or very minimal. And so networking is key.
Yeah.
That would be my piece of advice.
Yeah, I get along with some of the leads guys in Kearney. I like that. Those teams are really good. So, Drew, thank you so much for meeting with us.
Thank you,
If you haven't been to the chamber yet, you can pick up any color, but I would recommend one of the green pistachio ones. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next week.